Let's talk pacing guides. A pacing guide is one of those tools I would have given my left leg for in my first few years of teaching. It's so hard to get a grasp of how long things are going to take to teach, what order you should teach things in. I've done anything and everything when it comes to a pacing guide. I've created my own pacing guides from scratch. I've taught in schools that give you the pacing guide that's down to the minute for what lesson you're expected to teach. No matter where you fall on that spectrum of pacing guides, today I am here to help you. We're going to talk about how to use a pacing guide, how to build a pacing guide, and then I'm going to give you a pacing guide. Keep watching to make sure you grab this link at the end. First and foremost, what is a pacing guide? A pacing guide is sometimes called a long-range plan or a scope and sequence. No matter what you call it, it's a tool that's designed to help you see how all of your expected content fits together in a school year, whether it's going to be for one subject area or every subject area that you teach. A pacing guide gives you an idea of the order you should teach your content in and about how much time that content should take. When you have a pacing guide, it is so much easier to plan, especially thinking about long-range planning. I know that my multiplication unit is only going to take 3 weeks, or that's the allotted time for it. So that helps me narrow down which lessons I need to cover within those 3 weeks. Using a pacing guide while you're planning is going to save you a lot of time in the long run. Let's talk a little bit about that time saving next. When you are planning, starting from your pacing guide is an awesome beginning spot for you to work with. Pull out that guide and decide what is coming next. Always be looking ahead. That's how you get ready in advance for your next content you have coming up. Now, your pacing guide is not going to account for things like holidays, the random Monday off from school, or those school-wide events that are going to take away a little bit of your academic time. That's why we like a pacing guide that's really flexible. Instead of saying on this Monday at this time, teach this lesson, I want you to give me a broad scope. Tell me that teaching a personal narrative to a group of third graders is probably going to take me between 8 and 9 weeks to cover all of those standards. I use that pacing guide while I'm planning to make sure I'm on track in covering everything I should. A lot of times you don't have a pacing guide at all, and I have also been in that situation where it was kind of just shots in the dark to see what we were working on each week. That's when it's really important for you to rely on the resources that you do have, including the people around you. Creating a pacing guide can be hugely helpful, and it is time consuming, but it is definitely worth it in the long run. Work with a team if you can. If you're creating your own pacing guide, I suggest starting with all of the resources you do have. Pull out those teacher manuals, required curriculum, things that you've done in the past that you know really work to help your students meet those goals throughout the year. Start placing those into a pacing guide to help you see where they fall throughout your school year. Then you can start filling in the blanks with the other content you know you need to cover. Once you have this pacing guide set, it's something you can continue to tweak and refer to, add notes to. My pacing guide at this point even has Google links to all my content. If the idea of creating your pacing guide from scratch sounds like a task that you are just not interested in undertaking right now, first of all, I feel you, I totally understand, which is why I wanted to share with you our free year-long pacing guides we have developed for grades 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. These pacing guides are truly everything you need to get a great idea of what direction your school year should go in. They include content for reading, grammar, writing, and math. And I have to say the 3rd grade and the 2nd grade ones also include pacing suggestions for spelling as well. It's broken down into quarters, it's easy to read, easy to follow, and aligned to Common Core standards. This pacing guide is so easy to use. This is a tool that I am laminating and sticking in my planner to use every week while I lesson plan. Want to make sure I took care of some frequently asked questions when it comes to the pacing guide. A question we get all the time when it comes to pacing is how we can make a resource like this work within required curriculum. Maybe you have a reading curriculum you have to use, a writing curriculum they are expected to see working in your classroom. That's okay. Fill in those pieces and then use our pacing guide to help you build out the rest. free. Another question we get often is there's no science and social studies. That's because every state and every grade level is so different in their science and social studies expectations. I like to use our pacing guide to structure my year and then go in and add an additional column to help me add in my pacing guides for science and social studies. That way I have everything in one place. Another question we get asked often is how does this account for events during the year that Not So Wimpy obviously doesn't know that are happening? We included a week for holiday activities as well as a week for back to school, end of school, and testing. So there's definitely wiggle room within the schedule to help you make it work for your classroom, your school, and your district, no matter where you're teaching. If you like our format and are just looking for a blank template, don't worry, that's included with your resource too. Let me know any other questions you have down in the comments. Again, this pacing guide is a freebie. You want to make sure you grab the link up in the cards and down in the description box to sign up to get your copy emailed right to you. This is an awesome tool and I so seriously wish I had had this when I was starting out in the classroom. It would really have helped with those days where me and my teammates were looking at each other going, okay, what's next? This will tell you what is next. Awesome resource and I'm so excited to share it with you. I've got my laminator turned on. I am ready to get this guide prepped to go in my planner to use for the entire school year. Don't forget to grab the link to this resource up in the cards and down in the description box. It's a freebie. Why would you not? If you aren't already, please make sure you are subscribed. We put out new content here every single week and I would love to have you join me here on YouTube, talking about things like planning, instruction, and tips and tricks for the classroom or how I like to spend my time here on YouTube. And I hope you come to join me. As always, thank you for watching and have a not so wimpy day. Bye.